So I was recently just watching some Punishing Gray Raven content on YouTube, as I like to do as a PGR content creator myself, and I was enjoying a video from Gray Ravens of Lena absolutely gushing about a new coding that was released for Ayla Kaleido on the CN servers.
Finally happened. Ayla has a special effects coding, and it's amazing.
I mean, that does look really good. And I gotta say, it was absolutely hilarious just watching her appreciate that. I know it's her favorite character, and it's very enjoyable to watch her just like completely appreciate the frame, and rightfully so. It's an excellent coding, and it's excellently designed with some cool features that have been added to it, especially being a special effect coding as well. But she said something in the video that had me wondering a little bit.
This might sound a little biased, but I think this might be PGR's best coding ever.
What? Is it? So I thought on it and went back and was looking at some of the codings in Punishing Gray Raven, and I forgot that there are some great codings that are still currently in the game on the global servers. And so in this video, I wanted to talk about 5 underrated codings in Punishing Gray Raven. Make sure you check out some of the later ones because some of them are free and I think they're going to surprise you. But before we jump into those, guys, make sure to drop a like and subscribe on the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. On to the codings, everybody. So these codings are going to be in no particular order, and as I mentioned, I only wanted to talk about the codings that are currently existing on the global server. If you're interested in another video where we look at 5 codings that are coming from the CN server, let me know in the comments down below if that's something that you're interested in, and maybe if we get, I don't know, 500 likes on the video, we'll go ahead and make that. I think that's a pretty fair goal. I think that's achievable, so let me know in the comments and make sure to like the video. Alright, so the first character I wanted to take a look at is actually a character everyone is going to be very familiar with, and that is, of course, Lucia Lotus. Lucia Lotus, obviously people know about the rainwalking coding, but one that I don't see often kind of featured or talked about is actually her daybreak coding. This coding, I think, is absolutely fantastic. I love the Kill Bill vibes, it's very reminiscent of that, and I think it's just a lot of fun. I also think it's a very interesting design and design choice, being, looking respectfully. But like the underboob window, I think is hilarious, and I think it's funny. That's not something you don't see featured, I think, in a lot of character designs. I think, of course, if it's going to be, you are going to see it in an anime game. Like, that part is not surprising. But this coding, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw this, I burst out laughing. This coding has a design feature that I don't know if I've ever seen on another character before. And that is this. Guys, it's got butt cleave.
Why?
I still think it's hilarious. Like, obviously, modern shirt designs and designs in general are, cleavage is a thing that exists, like that's just a reality of the world. But never in my wildest dreams is that something that I would have ever thought of or considered on a coding design for a character. And so I both simultaneously am impressed with the imagination of the lead designer on this coding, and like maybe just a little bit disappointed. Like, I don't know, guys. I think overall it's such a unique addition to it that I had to include it. I just think it's absolutely hilarious. But look, that's just me. Maybe you think that's a little bit too degen. I think it's funny. The next one that I wanted to take a look at actually comes from a character I don't currently have in the game, but is a character that I think many of you will have, and that is going to be Namami Pulse. Namami Pulse has a seasonal coding that is called Jolly Santa Nami, and this coding I think is absolutely adorable. I think it is the perfect combination of the sci-fi mechanical perspective along with just a very adorable, perfectly seasonal spice. I think some of the design elements of like the stars being carried out throughout the earrings, the chest ornament down to the wheels, I think the color palette is just fit perfectly. And based on her personality of Nanami being a very like happy, joyful character in general, I just think fits the personality for Mrs. Claus as well. Along with kind of like the fur trim on the coat, along the sleeves and the collar, and the fuzzy earmuffs, I think is just super cozy looking and enjoyable. And I think it absolutely nails a holiday vibe while still making it very unique to her personality and to the game's design as a whole. So I like this one for so many different layered reasons. I hope that makes sense to you, but I've never really even seen or heard of this coding before, and so that's why I think it's my second underrated coding within the game. Now, the thing is, though, the two first codings that I talked about aren't free as of now within the game, and so I wanted to take a look at another one that I didn't initially pick because it is free, but I found out it was free after the fact, and that is actually going to come from Karenina Ember, and on her coding, Maka. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be surprised like that. Like, people are going to be expecting me to pick, the Snow Leopard, Dead of Snow Leopard, sorry, or the Bloody Love. But actually, I like the Maka skin. If you've ever had a chance to play Karenina Ember, whether it be in, trial stages or in some of the story stages, her movement and combat, I feel like, is more conducive to kind of like a slick combat model. And so I actually really like the change. I also love more of the cyberpunk vibe that you get from this coding as well. And I think it's designed really well. I also like the little glowing thrusters that have been added to the coding that just feels a little more fitting to her blast combat in general. So while I can give a little bit of a shout out to the Dead of Snow Leopard for having a lot of, reminiscent of Kill la Kill vibes, if you know what I'm talking about from that anime, I still think I think the Maka coding is underrated, and you can get that from the coding exchange shop, so it's free. It's farmable and it's going to take a while, but it's free. I think it's definitely underrated in that case as well. The next one we're going to look at, I think, is going to be very telling of who I am as a person, or at least who I used to be. That is going to be from Chrome Arclight. Of course, it's got to be Dream Eater. Guys, I think this coding is so underrated, and it's another free coding. It's a free coding you can get in the game, guys, also farmable from the exchange shop. But the thing is, Dream Eater just speaks to the 14-year-old in me who just wanted to be an absolute edgelord. You wanted to be, the Sasuke with the hard upbringing, and you need to get your revenge on something. And it's just it's everything you want to be when you think of a cool BA character, especially when you're, early high school, end of elementary school in that case. I also love it from the juxtaposition standpoint of who the original character is. Chrome is a very optimistic, I'll say goody two-shoes kind of character, top of his class. So having the contrast of Dream Eater 2, I think is just really fun for the character, really changes it up and gives you something different to look at. And I think it's just underrated, guys. I think it's a lot of fun. A lot of people probably think it's cringe. It goes a little bit too hard. And you know what? It probably does. But I like it anyway. I want to give a quick honorable mentions before we go to my fifth and final pick for the underrated codings in Punishing Gray Raven. And one of those is going to be just briefly from Live Luminance. I've been using Live Luminance more, especially now that I've been working on my physical composition, or my physical team comp, and I absolutely love the Skeletal Bride coding. I just think it is just a great design coding where it still feels very reminiscent of the original character, but also gives you something a little bit different and a little bit of extra spice. The other one too, I just have to take a limit to appreciate, as I think this character has the best codings in all of Punishing Gray Raven, especially on the global server, and that's Bianca Veritas. Bianca Veritas has peak codings in this game. I don't like the maid motif, in terms of character designs or personality designs for characters. I've just never really cared for it. I don't like it. Doesn't matter to me. I like the Pact of Zero design, and it's a free coding that's farmable from the exchange shop. And I think it's such an actual quality design that I think it's one I'm still considering getting. Although the one thing holding me back is that I am going to be sunsetting Bianca Veritas as soon as Crimson Weave comes along. And so I'm still weighing my options there, but I think it's fantastic. But then we also have Inklet Hermit, which I think also looks really cool. Love kind of the edgelord vibes to it, as well as it being a special effect coding that changes all of her lightning element splashes to these ink blots. That looks so cool in combat. And then finally, she's got the Spring Huntress, which is just absolutely a gorgeous coding. So elegant, very cool. And I just think from a character, the fact that she's got 3 absolute banger codings on this one character, I would argue she's probably got the best codings within the game, at least for now on the global side. So that's my honorable mention there. But my fifth and final underrated coding, and I think this is going to come as a surprise to some of you, is actually going to be in Watanabe Astral, and that's going to be Captain Hook. Hear me out. I got a couple reasons for this one. One, I think just in general, it's a well-designed coating. I think it looks really cool. I love the pirate vibe. Love the musket that's been added to the hilt and the addition. And he's got, even though he's using like kind of like the twin blades, it has this roguish element to it that I think is a lot of fun. But externally from that too, many people know gacha games are generally tilted towards dudes in general. And so that's why like a lot of the characters end up being female playable characters. They usually have some more revealing coatings. I mean, we've kind of looked at a couple even today. And as far as like, you know, fan service elements goes, PGR is very low on the tier list in my perspective. I think there's some way more egregious offenders of absurd fan service, looking at you at that Azure Lane coating that was causing some controversy recently. I still think the vast majority of the cast is female characters and female coatings that have been added. So I think having something here, a little bit of extra spice for the ladies out there, I think is just a really fun and a nice add and not something that you see a lot regularly in this genre of game. I also think the fact that like just those abs are just absolutely hilarious to me. Very anime. And the shirt itself, I think is just so funny. These shirts never made sense to me. Like, I love the idea that like, oh, gotta protect my shoulders. We need to make sure that we have something there protecting my shoulders. But don't worry, I'm gonna leave my chest completely exposed. Please hit my vitals. Don't worry, my nipples are made of titanium. I'm fine. Like, it's just so funny to me. It's a combination of comedy, good design, and good external amounts to it. But that's my 5th selected underrated coating in Punishing Gray Raven. So I would love to hear from you guys though. What do you think is an underrated coating currently in Punishing Gray Raven on the global server? Or if you don't have one of those, what's a coating you're looking forward to coming from the CN servers? And again, if you're interested to see me do a video talking about some of the coatings that are coming, maybe something you want to plan for, let me know in the comments down below and drop a like on the video, guys. If you don't want that, like the video anyway, because that's really helpful and I would appreciate it. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.